Welcome into the live stream here from McCready and Siskey, powered by Rain Total Body Fuel. I'm Neal. That is Tyler.
What it is, sir?
I had an interesting 1 o'clock hour. I went to the gym real quick to get a lift in. I'm back to being able to lift a little bit more because I'm not having to be quite as careful. Anyway, I'm leaving there to get back here to get ready for the show. And Oxford police have been called into duty on University, turning on to the ramp to get to 7 North.
Yes.
Okay. Already one of the most convoluted areas
That is the
of
worst
Oxford.
intersection.
So
Nobody knows how to drive it either.
a gentleman in a wheelchair who was rolling around, he'd gotten stuck. Okay.
They had him moved to the side of the road when I went through.
Yeah. So they were getting him at the time. They were getting him to the side of the road. Okay. So the person in front of me was apparently related to the gentleman, and she pulled into the ramp, and the police officer came over. There were two of them, 2 cars, flashing lights, the whole deal. He motioned to me, "Hey, stop." And I was like, yeah, gotcha. Because I'm at the front of the line to turn left, right? No problem. I mean, stuff happens.
It happens.
You're doing your job. You're police officers. The following, by the way, before anybody's cringing, like, okay, here comes an anti-police rant. No. But it's Neal, why do you just avoid people at all times? This is one. So he like this, stop. And I was like, you got it. I get it. You're you got your hands full for a minute. So, I don't know, 5-6 minutes of that. And I'm being patient. I'm talking to Laura on my phone. It's fine. I'm realizing they'd gotten him into the vehicle, and now they were trying to figure out what to do with the wheelchair. One of those motorized wheelchairs. They're obviously trying not to break it, that kind of thing. They're trying to, can it get into the truck? And it's apparently pretty heavy. And then, you know, how do you don't want to lift the wrong spot probably, and then something happens, and now the chair has been disabled, and et cetera. Okay. So I look up at one point, and there were a few people back behind me who are doing the deal where they veer off to the right, go up, and turn around to get back on the other side of the ramp that's not blocked. Me, I'm not in a big enough hurry to veer into traffic and cause an accident. So it's like, whatever. I got a half an hour. It's going to be okay. Well, suddenly, I look in my mirror and I see the vehicle behind me, like a big
truck.
It's kind of like a big SUV looking thing. And the guy comes around me and pulls in front of me like he's going to go. And then he sees the cops. And it's like, yeah, dumbass. Did you think, I mean, out of curiosity, did you think at any point over the last, 5-6 minutes that, hey, this guy in the truck in front of me, he's just not going to go? Did you, is that what you were thinking? Did you not have just the awareness, the spatial and situational awareness to look around and go, 2 police cars, flashing lights. I don't know. Maybe something's going on right there that prevents him from turning. Because I think I would have thought that. And I'm not a particularly smart guy.
But you do have a doctorate in common sense.
But he goes around me, gets stuck, and then I look at him like, and now he won't look at me. I'm honking my horn like, no, you're going to look at me. I want you to see me so that you can hear me go, you're a dumbass. And the officers look over at me like, and he realizes the deal, and you can see him going, yeah, he is a dumbass.
Yeah.
But it's like, we got bigger fish to fry right now. And then so finally, when it opens up, he's like racing to get around him. I'm like, dude.
Oh. All right, you want to address the super chat before we get started?
But I will tell you that this is why when people are like, man, why aren't you more social? That's why. We got my daughter, Caroline, who turns 21 in a couple of weeks.
Let's go.
She's got a little stuffed leopard, Larry the leopard. She's carried it all of her life. And I promised Caroline, years ago, I promised myself because she got really attached to Larry, okay? Still is to this day. Carries Larry everywhere. Larry is if you know Caroline, you know Larry the leopard. And I always would search because I bought Larry at the airport in Knoxville, Tennessee during a work trip. Okay. When Caroline was
I know the story. That's why I'm laughing already.
Yeah. Caroline was an infant. Well, At some point in the early years of Larry's life, Caroline took his tag off of him. And so I didn't know who the hell made Larry, right? I didn't make a mental note at the time when I bought Larry the Leopard for my infant daughter who made this stuffed leopard.
Bad parenting mistake.
And we would have conversations, Laura and I would, what would we do if something happened to Larry? And I was like, I don't know, but if I ever see another Larry, I'm buying the damn thing. And so about a year, was it even a year ago? Not that long ago. Caroline sent me this.
Found it somewhere.
Caroline sent me this text. I found Larry.
Yeah.
And it was on eBay. They search for you can take a picture of something and it pops up. And so out of a joke, I bought the Larry the Leopard. He's sitting right over there.
Let's go get him.
You gonna get Larry?
Yeah. He's gonna hang out with us today.
All right. So I bought the Larry the Leopard as like the big joke with there's Larry. It's Larry the Leopard. I bought Larry the Leopard, gave him a different name, but I told you a minute ago, that's why sometimes if you gave me the choice between hang out with like 10 people or just sit and talk to Larry in the chair over there, I'd talk to Larry.
Yeah.
Actually, this isn't Larry. Larry is her Larry. This is Legend. Because that's only Larry the Leopard.
So this is named Larry. You're bullshitting. We got Legend hanging out.
This is new Larry.
This is new Larry.
But
his name is Legend.
Legend is what we named him because Larry Bird's Larry Legend.
Okay.
I thought it made some sense. Alliteration.
All right, so we got Legend. He's gonna hang out with us today.
Okay.
You got an extra mic for Legend?
He's pretty quiet.
He's pretty quiet. Quiet guy.
Which is one of the reasons I enjoy talking to him.
He never has a bad idea.
Every once in a while, I'll look over there and say, "What'd you think of that?" He just kind of sits there.
Silence is gold.
Silence, kind of like it was good.
All right, you want to hit the super chat before we hit the audio file and start the pod?
Yeah.
Go ahead. I figured this would be right up your alley.
Austin, thanks for the super chat. He says, Tyler, is this the year we get Neal to Talladega?
That is a question from my man Neal. Because
Sure.
we can make it happen.
Sure. I'll go to Dega.
I know some people that can make this happen.
I don't want to do like the weekend where I'm camped out on the infield with everybody trashed.
Come on, dog. No, there'll be some.
I mean, I get that, but you understand my point.
What do you think we do?
I don't know. These are things, again.
All right, it's redneck Mardi Gras, man.
Right. I understand.
These will be your people. We can make it happen, for sure. I got one of our sponsors can make it happen for us pretty quick.
All right, let's knock a couple of these things out real quick. But we'll get to our show.
We gotta get the audio.
We'll get to the audio in a minute.
Go ahead, read
but
them,
I
can't read them.
don't want to put this on the audio because people will lose their mind. These are our people that are here early. Hayden says, "What's that hoodie, Neal? It's my son's club team. This is Tupelo
Okay,
FC.
I like that.
He's been playing for Tupelo for 4 years.
Yeah,
I don't know.
About that.
Josh Tolbert says, Neal, I have a daughter who will be a junior next year, so we're trying to book a few visits to several campuses. She recently brought up interest in Arkansas. Thoughts on Arkansas from experience? All right, this is not an athletics answer.
You better preface that.
All right, I've learned I have to preface everything. From experience with two girls, we have zero complaints. It's been great. They have a really, really strong business school. Both of my girls are in business, in the Walton College business. They've both thoroughly enjoyed it. They've both had a great deal of success. There are a lot of jobs up there. There's a lot of opportunity up there because of Walmart, Tyson, all that, but especially Walmart, the deal with if you're a vendor and you want to have a contract with Walmart, you have to have an office within 30 minutes of Bentonville, which of course includes Fayetteville and Springdale and Rogers. And
so our guy Bob has to go to Bentonville and travel now.
Yeah. So it's a beautiful area. It's I mean, there's no such thing as perfectly safe, but for us, it's been really safe. I think I guess Caroline had a car accident. That was it. No, I don't think we've had any big problems. They have a really strong sorority system. If you're into that, they do a very good job of if girls who go through the process the right way will get a bid, pretty much. We have no complaints. It's been super. Carson, our third, I don't know what he's going to do. I'll put it this way. If Carson were a girl, there would be no decision. He would just go to Arkansas and pledge Kyo and it'd be easy. He's not a girl.
does make it difficult.
So that changes
it makes the KO bid a little bit more
Yeah,
difficult.
I feel confident that he's not going to get into KO. And so,
he may be in KO,
even-
but it won't be from a bid.
even with the legacy, he'd probably get a gig as a houseboy or something. They probably could pull that string.
I'll bet you he finds his way into the KO house in Fayetteville, Arkansas, with his connections before. Carson, hey,
that would be.
He's pretty sharp.
Yeah, I'm gonna stay out of that.
I'll have a talk with Carson, so you don't have to.
I don't want to get my guy in any trouble right now.
I'll have a talk with Carson. You don't have to have that talk.
All right. So
are you ready to roll?
Yeah, we're ready to roll.
We got any more questions before we get started? I can't read.
He says, "Wait, if all the girls go to Arkansas, then Carson really needs to go there." Yeah, there's worse things to be these days on a college campus than a guy, because I think the girls outnumber the males quite a bit.
I'll just do it.
All right, here we go.
11-minute pre-show.
It happens. And people are going to get in 30 minutes going, what's the deal with the leopard?
Yeah.
That's coming.
Yeah. Roll it back.
Welcome into episode 156 of McCready and Siskey, powered by Rain Total Body Fuel. I'm Neal McCready. That is Tyler Siskey here on this Thursday afternoon, the final day of February. It's leap day. The next time we have a February the 29th, it will be 2028.
How about this? The next time we have a leap day, I'll be 50 fucking years old. How about that?
You're just trying to piss me off now.
No, I've already got you there.
Yeah.
We've already got you there. You're already raged up, ready to go.
Yeah. I'm actually not. I'm pretty calm.
You get all your I needed that rage for a little bit, and you've already got it all out.
Got it out. Yeah. We're brought to you by Rain Total Body Fuel, 300 milligrams of natural caffeine, BCAAs, electrolytes, zero sugar. It's got what you need to push your limits and achieve your goals.
Neal, I'm rocking with the Valencia Orange today.
Okay.
I got to get my Storm going. We flopped the varsity and JV games have been flopped from 7 to 5 to 5 to 7 or 5 to whenever. JV will be after. So
okay, so varsity goes first.
Yeah. So Brock plays both, and so I will be.
It's cold too.
It's gonna be cold. I will probably be there. I'm hoping that JV game goes quick, man. I hope they like mercy or something. Rain comes or something. It's gonna be a long night for your boys. So I got my Valencia Orange to get me through. And Neal, the Cooper Chevrolet chat is already bumping. We've already been to the Cooper Chevrolet chat for a couple questions, and remind everybody that this week, right now, coming up is the final week of current incentive offers like low 2.9% APR for 72 months plus zero payments for 90 days on the new Chevy Silverado 1500 trucks. So if you're looking for a truck, looking for low APR for 72 months, contact our guys at Cooper Chevrolet at 256-236-4481. That's 256-236-4481. And make sure you tell them that your boys at McCready and Siskey sent you.
And don't forget, while you're on social media and such, go to Instagram at Rain Body Fuel. Holler at them. Tell them how much you appreciate this show.
Yeah.
That kind of thing.
Tell them how much you love the new Storm. It's good stuff.
Yes, sir.
All right, Neal. I have been in the NCAA, our good friends over at the NCAA. Since our show, like they can't get out of their own way sometimes. And I want to start it with a little addition that we may do from time to time, a little kind of like a introduction, like a segment. We'll call it a podcast segment.
Okay.
That we'll do from time to time, and it's called Today's Edition of Dumbass NCAA Rules. So I did the Andre Duke show last night.
Mm-hmm.
He's a listener to our show, started a podcast, did his show last night, and he was bringing up, hey, Ryan Day in Ohio State, violations. And I was like, I remember seeing something, but I kind of dug into it to see what happened. Well, they self-reported violations yesterday.
Okay.
And so when I tell you what they self-reported, and considering the climate and the issues we have, it makes the rules seem even more dumb than they already are. So here is what they had to self-report, okay? So violation 1 is an assistant coach contacted a player before he was officially in the portal. So was that tampering by the letter of the law? Yes, but this is what happened. The kid, which has probably happened 879,000 times, just so everybody knows, Kid announces he's going in the portal. Said coach calls the kid, but he hadn't done his official paperwork yet. Like, I don't even call that tampering.
Mm-mm.
Like, we're turning that in
Come on.
everything else that's going in. Ohio State, you don't have to turn that in, boss. But I want people to understand this. The people of Ohio State, first of all, good for you. That's good character, saying, hey, we screwed up. Here it is. How do people find out about that? So depending on, I don't know who's in compliance at Ohio State. I don't know them, but depending on your compliance staff, you can have a great compliance staff. And I've had both. Or you can have the Gestapo can be your compliance staff, or you can have somebody that has no idea on the rules. I worked on a particular compliance staff. Oh, miss! I had a particular staff when I was first here with Freeze, right?
Right.
And this guy who's no longer he wasn't here very long. He's now runs a compliance department at a FCS school in California. I looked him up to see where he was at.
Okay.
But there's a bunch of people in compliance. Well, this dude would come to my office and drop down a stack of printouts that are about yay thick, 400, 500 pages of every single phone call that was made from every single phone in the building for the last month with no caller ID, just numbers. Like, I'm supposed to know who that guy is. And this guy would drop them. He goes, you need to find out who these calls are going. We don't know who these calls are to.
Oh, come on.
And I would go like, dude, are you serious? I said, I'm not doing that. And so that was a thing for a couple months. I got in trouble about it for a second until I showed what they had, and then they got on to the other guy. So,
yes.
But my favorite, I think I've told this on this podcast. I know I told it on the other one. My favorite one was when they came after Matt Luke for calling this ninth grader named Kel Luke. And I let them, but here was, you know how I am.
Yeah.
I let him just dig the hole and just start ripping ass about, just calling. I just let him just dig his hole as deep as he could dig it. I said, hey, that's awesome. Hey, why don't you, I said, whose phone was that on? He goes, that was on Matt Luke's phone. Hey, what's the last name of that prospect? Kel Luke. Hey, what's his dad's name? Tom Luke. You know who that is? So I let him dig it. But yeah, that was they. You
should have called Matt and just started yelling at him for calling a ninth grader named Kale and seeing if you could have gotten him see if you could have gotten him to play along.
All kidding aside, where I got pissed off is, do you know how much time of my day that took up that I could be spending doing like productive
Well, if it took
things?
up more than 10 seconds, it was waste.
So that's probably how that came up. So he probably had the Gestapo after him. All right, so this is another favorite one. We got all these issues going on right now. And I believe I read this right in the report I read. It was Brian Hartline, who's a great receivers coach, a great developer of players, the whole deal. He got in trouble for while a kid was on an unofficial visit for sending a graphic, giving the graphic to the guardian, okay? And the kid was in 10th grade still, and he was in 11th grade. So he gave it to him 6 months early because we know when it comes decision-making time, NIL doesn't matter.
No.
Your school, how good your football program doesn't matter. By gosh, I'm making my decision. I'm coming to Ohio State because Coach Hartline gave my dad a graphic of a picture I took 3 years ago. That's why I'm coming to Ohio State. How fucking stupid is that? They got to turn that in. I feel bad for them for that. That's dumb rules. You got to be a junior, can't be a sophomore. Who gives a shit? All right. This one happens everywhere. Every sideline in America. If you have a big football game on Saturday, this happens every single day. A booster, quote unquote booster, took a picture with a recruit that got posted on social media. Do you know who's considered a booster?
Oh, really? Almost anybody.
Just about anybody.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was dumb. That happened. We got busted for Archie taking pictures with somebody. Because we know the reason that they're coming to your school is because they were allowed to take a picture with somebody 3 years before signing day. That's why.
Ever tell you my story with compliance at Ole Miss?
No, but you probably got some good ones.
This is the best one.
Was it with the actual email, compliance@olemiss.edu?
I can't remember how it all came about.
That was a joke. Bad joke.
Yeah. And it was, might have been the same guy you're referencing.
Probably.
Okay.
He was the Gestapo. There was two. How about this? There were two people in the entire time I was at Ole Miss. Look, Julio, all those people, great people. They were awesome at their job. It was two individuals, only two.
Yeah.
In all of my years here.
I feel confident that we might be talking about the same guy.
There was a guy that he's now in California, and there in the ladies' job, she left to go work for the NCAA in enforcement. Imagine that.
So
shocker.
It's before a football game, and I'm down on the sideline trying to figure out who's there and who's not there. That's all that stuff.
Yeah.
And Andy Kennedy at the time was the basketball coach at Ole Miss.
Yeah.
And Andy and I are good friends. And so, I see Andy, and I say, "Hey, what's up, AK?" He's like, "Hey, Neal, what's up? Come say hi." And I walk over, and he's got a prospect with him.
Yep.
Okay. Now, in those situations, you're trying to show the people around you that you're a normal human being. That's it. He goes, "Hey, Neal, this is I think it was Kai Madden, who ended up playing at Arkansas." I steered him that way, by the way. Years I got it done.
This is really what happened.
Here's what really happened. No, but he goes,
"Hey, you're welcome."
He goes, "Hey, Neal, Kai Madden, Kai, this is Neal McCready." I said, "Hey, what's up? Good to see you." That's it. Okay. That's it. I talked to Andy for, I don't know, man, 15 more seconds. I mean, nothing more than great weather, what you've been doing.
How's your mom then?
How are the kids?
Yeah.
Like 2 weeks later, I find out that my name is in a self-report. Because
congratulations, welcome to the club, Neal.
A media member,
hey, welcome to the club.
A media member interacted with the prospect.
Another thing we have in common.
And I was like, "No, I didn't." You talked to a prospect. "No, I did." I said, "Hello." I mean, that doesn't count.
Yeah.
And if it does count, it shouldn't count. I didn't say, "Hey,
Hey, we have no other rules to worry about right now than this.
Andy sure would love to. I mean, what in the hell would I even say to a recruit, right? It was just idiotic.
The last violation, which is it's a social media violation, but a staff member, when Caleb Downs committed to Ohio State and puts out his graphics, he like quote tweeted it and said like, "Let's go," or "Congratulations," or something like that.
Okay.
Because we know that if he did not do that, he was going to flip and go somewhere else.
Right.
Some random staff member. So we had to report that too. Okay. So common sense. Look, the NCAA got plenty of shit to be worried about than this. So hopefully when this thing breaks off in 2 years,
yep,
and we get to revamp the rules, if the rules doesn't have any competitive advantage, and I don't want to hear shit about a photo shoot or graphics or any of that having a competitive advantage. And why? Because I don't know. I've probably been in 1,500 to 2,000 home visits. I've had kids come to our place. I've had kids go other places. And I have yet, and I would challenge any single coach that has heard this, please let me know, because I've never heard this.
Y'all's photo shoot, man.
I would like to know when it came time for the kid to decide that he's going to your school or going somewhere else. I would like to know these things. Has any recruit in the history of time said, "Hey, coach, I'm coming to your school, and why am I coming to your school? Because your graphics were better than the other ones, and I got them before that guy." Has that ever been said?
No.
No, we make a big deal out of shit that doesn't matter. And two is this. This is the other one, is the offer thing. Everybody like gets their rocks off. We got to get the first offer out. We got to get the first offer out. We got to get I've never, surprisingly, not really, never had a kid go, "Hey, coach, the real reason that I'm not coming to your school is 18 months ago when you offered me, you were 2 weeks behind the other school. That's why I'm not coming. Because 18 months ago, you were 2 weeks late." I've never heard that ever.
No.
We got to take.
If they say that, they were never coming anyway.
Correct. Keep the main thing the main thing. All right. Going to transition into this. I swore I was never going to talk about this ever again. Like when I left our show on Monday, I'm tired of talking about it. And what did the NCAA do? They said, "Hold my beer and watch this." They released a proposal. It's going to get voted on.
Okay.
to have an early signing day on the last Wednesday of June. I got a lot of people pissed off. Not a lot. I got some ignorant people pissed off that don't understand things. And I said something on social media yesterday. Shannon Terry tweeted something about, I half read the tweet. I knew what he was talking about.
Shannon Terry.
Oh, here we go. All right. So I have to identify who it was. I like Shannon. All right. So
who's he coach for?
He coaches for the University of On3. That's that THREE website you looked up the other day.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Okay.
So I like Shannon. Anyway, I said something like, the tweet I said was something like, don't get mad. Okay. If you want to make the rules, that's cool. You got to do your thing and put an early signing day in June, but you can't get mad when the kids start opting out and then try to get reactive. The critical thinking skills, it bothers me. I've had a high school coach. I had a college GM reach out to me today, and he wanted to tell me the other side of it, and I agree with it. He's like, look, it does lock the kids in from the portal standpoint, which I do agree. At the same time, where you can't allow the solution to be worse than the problem. And so, and this is the other thing that this guy wanted me to say on a podcast, but he couldn't say it, obviously, is this whole point of this meeting was to fix the calendar. Guess what happened, Neal? They didn't fix the fucking calendar. So I got an idea. You know what we can do to fix the calendar? Let's add another signing day. So we're going to have 3 signing days. Not 2. 2's not good enough anymore. We're going to have 3.
Is this going to pass?
It may.
So they're going to have a signing day at the end of June.
I think it's 50-50 right now if it passes or not. It's getting pushed.
And then a signing day in December and then another one in February?
Signing day in December. We moved to the first Wednesday, basically the first Wednesday in December. It'll be the first Wednesday after the completion of the season.
Okay.
And then the normal February, first Wednesday in February. Okay? Now, here's the thing. They moved the December one up. I get that. The February one, nobody's going to sign. The argument of keeping that, I do understand, is if when coaching changes happen, coaches got to have a chance to sign some kids.
Sure.
So these other 2 would be before even coaching changes.
But you don't need 3 of them.
You don't need 3. And the reality of the situation is a lot of kids, the right kids that you're recruiting, will play their senior year. But we're putting our head in the sand and not being realistic to think that kids will not sit out. These kids that have street agents that get NIL deals.
There's a lot of those.
There's a lot of them.
A lot of kids with the street agent.
And I'm not saying that every kid's going to sit out, Neal. I'm not saying that. I'm just telling you that a lot of kids will. The kids that move off the IMG, because let me tell you what's already happening. And I haven't ever brought this up on this show, but I'll say it. I'll go ahead. I'll call a spade because it's what I do for a living. I see it. A lot of kids, their senior years are already faking injuries. All right. I'll call it what it is. Hey, stop with the bullshit. You got kids with high ankle sprains. And then 2 weeks later, if it's a big game, all of a sudden out there running 4.4s. Yeah. Okay. A lot of faked injuries. The eye in the sky does not lie, Neal. The eye in the sky does not lie. Don't tell me you have a pulled hamstring after you just ran the last play that you were on the field. You outran the entire field by
It's like some of the soccer injuries. They go down, they're thriving in pain.
A lot of flopping.
And then 10 seconds later, they're sprinting off the field. You're like, it's a miracle.
That last playoff game, they had to do another team. It was a flopping machine.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. Guy was like Lazarus, man. Come out there. Woof.
Yeah, I had to remind one of the midfielders on the other team to chill.
Yeah, that drives me nuts. Anyway.
He kept telling him.
But kids are already faking injuries.
Yeah.
And so if you don't think that same kid's going to go, I'm just going to not. They got their NIL deal. They got everything. What's the point of playing? And it's ruining high school coaches. Because here's what we're doing. And I'm being a little partial here because I was a high school coach. I understand the deal. We're just totally ruining the high school game for everybody. And it's already a sport that's dying because not a lot of people are playing. So we're further kicking it in the balls by the transfer portals taking away numbers of athletes getting opportunities. So we kicked them in the balls with that. Well, now what we're going to do is we're going to move up signing day and encourage the best players that it's best for them. And I'm being honest with you now. I'm not saying it's wrong. It's probably what's best for them. Why? I mean, think about this. I'm asking you a serious question. Okay.
Okay. All right.
And I'm a competitor of all competitors. But what conversation do you have with your kid, with Carson? Let's say Carson's a 5-star football player.
Okay.
All right. And
as competitive as he is already?
Yes.
Okay.
With Carson right now.
Okay.
And you're his dad. Okay.
All right.
And you sign, and now remember, you can't get aid until you get on campus, right? NIL money.
Yeah.
Until you get on campus.
Okay.
Keep that in mind.
Okay.
He signs with Ohio State. Since we talked about Ohio State earlier today, he signs with Ohio State. And hey, Carson, when you get to campus, you're gonna get we're gonna give you $700,000-800,000 a year.
Okay. What am I telling him?
What are you gonna tell him in the fall?
Oh God.
Is he playing, or is he getting ready to go enroll in January and get his money?
Okay, so
because he's going to enroll in January.
This is going to be the interesting part here, right? Is that, and I'm using my kid's personality.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Because my kid's it's a shame that he's not a 5-star football player. Because he's got all the other intangibles.
Yeah, he's a competitive dude.
You've seen him play.
He's got the right, what I call, this is my version of it. He's a kid, I would say, when somebody said, what kind of kid is he? I say, he's got the right shit in his neck. That's what I call those guys.
Yeah, he checks the motor box.
He works.
He checks the desire box.
He's a competitive dude.
He's the kid. I mean, he has strep throat Monday. Got up, took the ACT Tuesday. Went and lifted anyway on Tuesday afternoon. And then yesterday stayed after practice and ran parachutes and all that stuff. He's just a different kid. I don't know where the hell all that came from.
It's definitely you.
But yeah, he would want to play. Because he would be like, no, this is my team. These are my guys. I want to win a championship. I want to win a state championship. I want to play. What would I say to him?
Yes, that's what I'm getting at. Because you actually have a clear mind and head.
I would say, Bud,
we need to think about this. We need to talk about it.
If you go out there and suffer a career-ending injury, that is a lot of money that you can't. I don't know how you'd replace that. You couldn't replace that. That's $750,000.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah.
I mean, that's if you graduate college getting a job right out of college at $75,000 a year, which would be pretty good right out of college. I mean, that's what a lot of like Campbell's friends and stuff. That's roughly what they've made a year. It's 10 years of that salary to play high school football. Where, let's face it, it matters until it doesn't matter, right?
Yep. It's a tough conversation.
If he said, Dad, what would you advise me to do? My answer is I probably would advise him not to play. And then he would get really, really pissed off at me.
You see what I'm saying, though?
Yeah,
it's going to happen somewhere.
1,000,000%.
And so to bury our hand in sand.
And so let's take this a step further. Let's be real, right? I mean, he comes from a family with means.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, he did. I mean, we've done well. Laura did well. I've done well. We've been able to provide. He doesn't have to worry about the next meal. He doesn't have to worry about things of that nature. If he came from a family that didn't have those means, and don't get me wrong, $750,000 is a lot to us.
Yeah, a lot to everybody.
But if you came from a background where you didn't really have anything, that is an incomprehensible amount of money that I don't know how you could risk.
It's going to happen. I just it bothers me that we're burying our head in the sand, and we're not.
Okay, so I'm going to play
critical thinking.
I'm with you on this. I'm going to play devil's advocate for a minute. Okay, so don't throw your can at me because this isn't really.
It's almost empty too.
This isn't really me talking.
I love devil's advocate.
And it's not legend talking, so don't throw anything at him either. It's just yeah, I know. He's kind of starstruck right now. In a world where you don't want kids to get hurt and lose their opportunities, why would this be a bad thing?
Because injuries are going to happen. It's football. And if you sign them in June, okay, if the kid, here's a great example. Let's say the kid gets hurt his first game of his junior year. Okay, he has no film to be evaluated on. He's not signing with anybody.
Right.
Nobody's going to give you a scholarship for what you did as a sophomore.
Mm-mm.
Okay. Fun fact, okay, of what I do for a living. I do a ton of film work. for a living.
You do junior film.
I do. Well, we do everything. We do freshman, sophomore,
Right.
junior, senior. All right. So one of our new clients that we got last week is a Big Ten team.
Okay.
All right. So we're going through their 26 list. Okay. And we were doing their defensive guys yesterday. And so they had 53 defensive guys. And we're going through them, guys that they like. And this is off this past season, which have been their sophomore film. I'm talking about these guys are like highly ranked and things like that. One kid played 14 plays the entire season. So are you going to sign a kid that played 14 plays? What if a kid gets hurt in the first? You can get hurt anytime. You can get hurt. Somebody said that on Twitter to me. You can get hurt during the season. You lose your whole junior year. You can get hurt playing spring football. Okay, because that's you're surely opting out of spring football.
Yeah.
Okay, so which nobody cares. It's fine.
Yeah.
No big deal. But you can play basketball. You can get hurt anytime playing sports.
Sure.
And so, but I also say this from my competitive side. If you are worried about getting hurt, you shouldn't play.
You shouldn't play.
Because when you worry about when people get hurt, it's when they're worried about getting hurt. Like when you go back and watch all the studies you want to see. And I'm not talking about games, I'm talking about practices. In games, things happen. A lot of the injuries occur when somebody's not going full speed. A lot of the injuries occur going to the ground. But when you play the game full speed with no flinch, you don't get hurt as much. It's the people that shy away from contact or try to protect themselves. It's going to the ground and things like that. A lot more significant injuries occur doing that instead of going full speed. And if it's something that's in the back of your head and you're worried about it, that's when guys get hurt. So
100%.
All right. Let's hop. You got any bills you want to pay for? We're about the halfway point.
We'll call that life advice because it kind of was.
Yeah.
Life advice presented by Cole Walters, State Farm Insurance. Cole Walters is licensed in auto, home, life, health, business, and pet insurance for the whole state of Georgia. Contact Cole at 706-525-7850. You can also find him at ColeWaltersInsurance.com.
All right. We had a little Neal Stradamus Monday. It's almost like you may have knew something. We're talking about the 14. You said I have a suspicion that it's going to be going to 14 teams before too long.
Mm-hmm.
Like you just quietly slipped that in the podcast on Monday, and nobody picked it up but me. And I meant to ask you afterwards. I said, "What did you hear that I didn't hear?" Because I did not hear that they were going to 14. I knew I knew a group.
Yes.
That was talking about it.
I'll say this: if it's
I didn't know it was official though.
The 12-team playoff, if you told me this coming season's the only one with the 12-team playoff,
that's what you said on Monday.
I would completely buy it.
Well, now we have the proposal. All right. And people, and this is where I get frustrated. All right. I'm not going to call them out because I like them. But it's not hard. You can go on social media and wear yourself out. They're very popular sports reporting people all over social media are having fun today because it's February and they have nothing else to talk about. And they're not as passionate about the signing day as I am. And they're like, oh, in 2019, when you get everybody's freaking out of this 14-team playoff, but they can't see the forest because the trees are in the way. They're like, oh, I can't believe it's killing. And they start going. In 2019, I saw this tweet literally as I'm walking up your driveway today. In 2019, it's chaos. Virginia would have made the playoff as the number 24 team. No, they wouldn't. I don't know why nobody's thinking about this. This is a great thing for every league. Okay? Let's talk about this. You're getting 3 AQs for the Big Ten and SEC. And everybody's like, oh, that's not enough. Let me explain something to you. The Big Ten and the SEC are no longer what you remember them as. The SEC is adding Texas and adding Oklahoma. That is going to add losses to your league. Your league will cannibalize themselves. So when you look at last year's and the rankings from the playoffs last year, you're not going to have 13 teams or 12 teams, whatever it is, all ACC, all SEC Big Ten, because they may be that good, but they're having to play each other. The losses, they're creating losses. Big Ten, you're adding Washington, Oregon. You're adding basically half all the good Pac-12 schools, USC. You're going to lose games. So the Big Ten's the one that actually brought this up. I heard it coming from the SEC, but I did hear yesterday that the Big Ten's the one that actually proposed this. They're smart because it guarantees you 3. And now you got 3 at larges. Okay? So now probably you're going to get 4. You guarantee yourself 3.
You're going to get. I'm just telling you.
You're for sure getting 4.
The SEC will get 4 minimum every single year.
The Big Ten will now get 4 minimum.
100%.
Okay. And so then you basically have 1 at large. It's good for both leagues. If they didn't have this and they were in the 12 scenario, they could cannibalize themselves out of the rankings to where they wouldn't be. Does that make sense?
Sure.
All right. 2 is this is great for the Big 12 and it's great for the ACC because they're looking like, shit, there was no way we were getting 2 in. Now we're getting 2 in.
I still can't believe the SEC and the Big Ten are willing to concede. I wouldn't.
All right.
I'd tell them to kick rocks.
Here's why I think they're conceding. Who else has a 14-team playoff, Neal?
The NFL.
Neal, there was Neal Stradamus.
It lets you have the buys.
Can I go back?
Apparently, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Like me personally, I like the 14 better than the 12. I like the 16 better than the 14.
The more the better.
Just it's games, right? I'm gonna get 8 quarterfinal games. 8 first-round games. Then I'm gonna get 4 quarterfinal games, 2 semifinals, and a final. That being said, I understand the incentive of incentivizing the buys, especially the double buy. It makes teams play a conference championship if they decide to play them. It makes teams decide to actually try to win it, to get the double buy if you're the 1 seed. It's not going to stick at 12. Kudos to the Big 12 and the ACC if you can get this to pass, that you pick up an extra spot. Because if I'm the Big 10 and the SEC, I told you I'd go back to my Thanksgiving table thing but hey, your chair's right down there. Sit down there. You're going to be the last one to get fed, but you get to sit at the big kid table. And if you behave yourself, maybe occasionally we'll talk to you. But that's where you are. This is giving them 2 seats at the table.
That's what I think. It's a win-win for everybody. And then the 14 team, the reason, this other guy named Neal Stradamus, the one thing that you and I have disagreed over is when they do break off, I think it's going to be more of a Power 5 break off. You're more to the 40 team-ish, which, in my opinion, this 14 team is setting up more for what you said.
Mm-hmm.
Because the NFL has how many teams?
32. Yeah, it's not going to be a big league.
So
it's going to be, because I go back to my pie. If you're hungry, the fewer people that you have to share the pie with, the bigger piece of pie you get. If you invite too many people to the party and they just have one pie, you're going to go home hungry. You're just going to get a sliver.
The part of the reason I'm saying the Power 5, my number's 68, by the way. My official guesstimation, my guesstimation is going to be 68. Yeah. Why? What else has 68 teams in it?
Yeah.
And that's a $1.2 billion a year deal.
There's no I've said this for a while. I've never understood the whole romanticism I get it. I like the tournament too. The tournament's coming. We'll turn it on in here on that Thursday and have it on, and we'll be watching the games and all that stuff. But I would understand the business of F this. Let's just invite the 32 top teams in our deal and blow this thing up and take the 1-point-something billion, and instead of dividing it 300 ways, let's divide it 32 ways. This is easy.
I did the math on the 68 in case you're curious. That'd be $17 million a school off a tournament.
Yeah.
It's pretty good. Pretty good lick.
It's pretty good.
Pretty good lick.
Yeah, I mean.
You can fund your whole sport that way.
It's all about the change. That's very obvious. But I don't have a problem with the 3-3, 2-2, and then the at-larges. Just understand that the at-large bids are going to go to the SEC and the Big Ten.
Yeah.
Because that's the reason that the contracts are as big as they are.
Yeah, I don't see it. Again, the only way, and this is my last point, I do see, here's where I'm a little bit different than you are on this. I think going to the 14 team is the death of the conference championship game.
It could be.
I think 12, it was okay.
Except this. If you made it where, so in the NFL, the 1 seed gets the bye. They don't play, you know what I mean?
No, I get it. But you only have 2 teams that are playing for buys instead of 4.
So the 2 teams would be the 2 buys would be the 2 conference champs.
And you'll kind of know who is vying for that. So I guess for sure every year 2 of the 4 conference, or basically whether there's 10 conferences, you count group final, all that stuff.
Well,
But
you
all
just
but
make it.
two.
You would just make it where the SEC champ and the Big Ten champ got the 1 seeds.
All right. Yeah, you would have to do that.
Yeah, that's
Now that would
incentivize those games.
But if you go, it would some conference championship games are going to die.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But let's say like
well, for example, in this scenario, the Big 12 championship game, if it were the top 2 teams and they're both guaranteed spots in the playoff,
why are they playing?
I mean,
and they're not getting a bye. Why are we playing?
They're. I mean, that's going to turn into a spring game
because you don't want to be the second place team and fall back.
But what you could have is the first place team versus the third place team, where the third place team is playing for its life, right? And the first place team is like, well, if we lose, do we fall to 3?
Yeah.
So
they won't do that, though.
you could have some drama that would be built in. Look, it's never perfect. As much as we love the NFL playoffs, they're not perfect.
And I'm cool with not having a
wild card weekend is not as good as divisional playoff weekend.
Yeah.
We still watch it.
I'm cool with not having a conference championship game, by the way, because the conference championship game, when it started, we didn't have a playoff.
Yeah.
And so it was a version of the playoff, right?
The only thing about it is, man, that is such a moneymaker for the leagues that I get it, but
will it continue though if it has no meaning?
I don't. It's
you know what I'm saying?
It's like a festival. You've been to the SEC title game. You've been in it. You know, when you go to it, you realize how they get a lot of stuff done. It's a big thing.
It's an event.
They have fan fest, all that stuff. So and
it's a free wives trip.
Yeah, I just don't. I don't know. I mean, we'll see.
All right. All right. I wanted to. I listened to your show. I think this was yesterday. I'm going to switch gears a little bit. I have a rebuttal to our good friend Chase Parham. I've heard him say this a few times.
Okay.
Y'all were talking about NFL running backs, and because Josh Jacobs is not going to get his franchise tag, he's going to become a free agent. And you and I have talked on this show in the past about if I was an NFL GM, I would literally draft, like do what Atlanta did. You draft Bijan Robinson, you ride his ass like Zorro until his rookie contract's up, then go get another rookie running back. And so you don't invest money in running backs. And Neal, Chase brought up the point, I think it was yesterday on the Oxford Exxon podcast, or was it this or today? I can't remember, so help me. About, he says, what's incentivizing young players to play running back? They should change positions and play another position, right?
Oh, yeah, that was earlier in the week.
Okay. I was catching up. Apologize. Been busy. This is where I disagree with that. If you told me just on the contract, like who gets the bigger contracts down the road and longevity, sure, go pick another position. But that's not where they make most of their money. It's in markability. Okay, so those guys, they don't get endorsement deals at linebacker. The only people that get endorsement deals are offensive skill players, period. Okay, ask me how I know. I'll tell you in a minute. Okay, there are most companies that do marketing for a living, and that's what their whole deal is. They don't even try to sign non-offensive skill players. They don't care what you are. I know someone who is an agent in this space, and the one client that has brought him the least amount of money was the number 1 overall draft pick in the National Football League draft, and he plays defense. So the only players that these companies sign are offensive skill players. And so that's where they make a majority of their money. It's not the contract. And a lot of times I think that gets lost in the shuffle. Because that's what the discussion's about, is about NFL running backs don't get paid. Well, they get paid in endorsements, and they get paid a lot more than their contract's ever going to pay them. So, Nick Chubb says hello.
Yeah.
He's got everything. And so that's something to keep in mind there. All right. I got some life advice. Got some coaching advice.
Okay.
I cut my finger somehow over here. Did you see this locker room?
You cut it doing the thing.
Is that where I did it?
Yeah.
Sure did. I sliced the hell out of it.
You cut it on metal. You do that all the time. I keep waiting for you to cut your hand open.
This is on the top. It doesn't hurt. It's just bleeding.
Yeah.
No pain, Neal. Blood is good.
No pain.
Pain. Blood is good. Cut me, Mick. Cut me.
Was it Rocky IV when he's doing that and they're yelling no pain? He's in Russia.
No pain.
No pain. No pain. No pain.
And then Cut Me, Mick is in the Rocky III.
Okay.
When he's fighting Mr. T.
Clubber Lang,
my bad.
Thank you.
Great movie. All right. Did you see this locker room fight on social media at Kentucky?
I saw it late last night when I got back from the Alabama Ole Miss game. I didn't at first. I didn't know what the hell it was because someone had already turned it into like a GIF, and
Right.
I didn't know what it was. And then I subsequently found out, and I was like,
if you want entertainment, just read the comments.
My reaction to it was, "Oh, that stuff happens all the time," and I just kind of went next.
Okay, so you're a normal red-blooded American.
Well, I mean, I've covered sports for a long time. Tempers are going to flare. There's going to be stuff that happens inside locker rooms.
Every locker room in the history of locker rooms has fights. I mean, I'm not going to out them, but I've seen quarterbacks break a toe on national championship teams, get in a fight in the locker room. It happens. You can take that and run with it if you want to go back and look at some stories. I've seen.
Well, but that didn't go over well.
No. Well, he was the aggressor.
I still don't think it went over well.
He won. I wouldn't have. He's a big quarterback too. He's got kind of like Cam Newton in him. I wouldn't have messed with him either, but that guy messed around and found out too. Fights happen in locker rooms. Two things. One, what happens in a locker room stays in the locker room. I'm not a coach in Kentucky, but if I were a coach at Kentucky in this situation, this is how I would handle it. I would go to the two guys that fought, and I'd be like, "You good? You good? All right, cool." The person who filmed it, that's their ass. That, my friend, is bullshit. And this is this thing. I don't know what it is. Every time a fight breaks out now, and the people involved around them are under the age of 25, people pull out the phones and they want to record it. So I don't know why, but if you're on that team,
it's just their world,
and you film that and it got out, that is your ass. You just broke all kinds of codes.
Yep.
All right, that is your ass. What happens on that team in a team meeting, and that's not for cell phones. That's not for that.
Mm-hmm.
Because those kind of disagreements go on all the time. I would 100%. That's why when this whole thing with DeSanto Rollins and Lane happened, good for freaking Lane. I'd have kicked his ass off too, just on the fact that he tried to sneak record me in a meeting. Your ass is out of here, man. That is a break of trust. And you're in a high-pressure situation with a lot of shit going on, and the last thing you need to be worried about is somebody breaking the trust that you're counting on. Fuck that. Your ass is gone. That pissed me off. That's bad. That's bad football. That's bad human being. That's bro code, man code, whatever you want to call it.
Yes.
That's not
just any team.
Any team. I don't care if it's freaking tackle checkers.
No, it doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
Tackle checkers.
Yeah, that's my new saying. You like that one?
I mean, I'm trying to picture it in my mind a little bit.
I was joking with my wife. She's got Knox signed up for every sport in America. So I said, when are we playing tackle checkers? Because that's the only sport he's not playing right now. So I'm for it, but let's.
You would have to have a big. You'd have to have a big field designed like a checkers board.
Yeah.
And where as you're trying to move your piece, they're trying to tackle you.
Or every time
if it's just sitting there, every time someone tackled you, the table would go upside down. You have to go, okay, where did you have double red here? Where was the black one here? Where's the red? It just would go forever.
Or you could go you could move like you get the king, you
yeah.
double them up. So you go and you just like slap fight, king me. You could do that. Slap shit out of them. That'd be fun. All right, got a few more minutes. Last two things. Jaxson Dart. I wanted to bring this up. Feel like I'm qualified to bring this up.
I would say so.
Think I'm qualified?
I do.
I was excited. Jaxson Dart got a NIL deal, first one of its kind, private aviation firm. The deal was done by Jeff Hoffman at ESM, in case you're curious, Neal.
Jeff Hoffman.
Yeah.
Name sounds familiar.
He's a pretty good guy. He's a pretty good guy. Pretty good at his job. But he signed.
You know his sister, right?
I do know his sister. She's hot.
Is that right?
Yeah, she is hot. She comes over to the house from time to time, too.
Oh, really?
That's right.
Okay. How about that?
Yeah. She's got 3 boys. I think they go to Oxford.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Small world.
Small world. I'm biased on this one, obviously. I said all that to say this. Everybody gets on to me about being biased about coaches. I am biased about this deal. But I think it couldn't happen to a better human being. Jaxson he's a real deal. He's marketable. He's a good person. He's a hell of a football player. But here's what pissed me off a little bit. This is a great deal. All right, two things about this pissed me off. One, Forbes magazine, they had it all set up, had the whole interview, everything done. Forbes was supposed to break it on Thursday, had everything. They were the good journalists. They did what they were supposed to do. They had it written up in the admin. Hey, you let me know when we somebody gets wind of it and just jumps the gun so they can be first.
Is that what happened?
Yeah.
Who quote broke it?
I don't want to say. I'll tell you later. I'm not that mad about it. I'm sure somebody else is, but I'm not. Somebody you know. But anyway,
One of the local people?
No, it was a national.
Okay.
It was a national person.
Oh, I know who it was.
Okay. It was a national person. But anyway.
Hut.
We'll talk later. Dude, I can't get in the code with you right now. All right, so
hut.
He's getting
3 huts.
3 huts. He's getting use of private jet, all that stuff, and everybody's like, oh my gosh. And then it never fails. I want to call this guy by name because I don't know. He's got a lot of followers. He's got like 100,000 followers. So Joe Pompliano wrote a tweet saying, hey, NIL is great, but these kids, I hope they understand that these kids and taxes on this free stuff. And it becomes this tax thing. Like, it makes it almost like it was a bad deal and all those things. Like, if your job, and this guy reports on sports finance, like that's his job. If that's your job and you're supposed to be such an expert in these things, you would probably figure out, do you think they're going to get a deal done for the kid where he's stuck with a giant tax bill?
No, not the good collectives are if anything, some of the kids and the street agents are upset at the collectives because they're taking the taxes out so that won't be a problem down the road.
And so, long story short is when you get stuff, quote unquote, donate, you're not getting you're getting a product instead of a actual number. That you have to count that as income. Okay. Well, dude, there's these things called he can literally, there's nothing preventing him from getting on a plane and going to what would be a favorite place to fly to?
Vegas.
Okay. There's nothing in the world for preventing him from getting on that plane, going to Las Vegas, doing some TikToks and some Instagrams and promoting Nicholas Ayer while he's doing such.
Mm-hmm.
And that is called a business write-off because he's making plenty of other money he needs to write things off on. And so the taxes on these kind of deals are almost nil, or almost nothing because of all there's other ways things can be written off in business expenses, things like that, and taken as losses for this company and this. There's so many different ways that deals like this that get done basically get written down to zero taxes. And that's called tax law. All right. So, and then the other thing is people that are bitching about it, like, guys, look, I know everything's for the player, right? Every player gets all rights. But look, you can get all the shit you want from the NCAA. You're not going to win versus the IRS. If your ass makes money, you will pay taxes or you have to follow tax law. They're not going to let you slide on that shit. So don't get mad at the NCAA. That's called the IRS, and they will bust your ass. They are the original NCAA. They will bust your ass. So, but very happy for Jaxson. That was a big deal. That was pretty cool to be first in first to market with that kind of deal in NIL. And then what ESM does is they do like real NIL, name, image, likeness. And, they have such clients as Jalen Hurts and Mac Jones and Kyle Pitts and Nick Chubb and Vontae Swift. And they got a whole crew. I think they had like 5 starting quarterbacks last year in the NFL. So they got a good little roster. So, excited for him. All right, Neal. Last thing, then we're gonna get to Criteria Club. I know you didn't see this, but I made a decision last night. I'm done with the PGA. Ask me how many holes of golf I watched this morning.
How many holes of golf did you watch this morning?
Not a one. I got asked on your board about a lineup. I didn't make one. I'm done. I did look. The guy, it's like Rory and everybody else. And then yesterday, this is where it's coming. There is a report out, and it came from his former agent, Rory's former agent, that he is considering moving to LIV after all this shit. And then there was a number that came out that was like $960 million.
Yeah, see, that's my thing. I've always said that, right? I've always been consistent on this. I don't like the people that are like, you can never go to there. At some point, everyone has a price. Not for basics. I mean, there are things in your life that there is no price. Your children.
Correct.
There's no price. But your career? When someone goes, oh, I would never leave. I'm so happy here. Oh, so-and-so would never leave there. Never is such a big word. Someone offers you $1 billion. Oh, okay. Well, when I said never, what I kind of meant was unless you paid me $1 billion.
Unless. But at the end of the day,
I mean, look,
it's bad. Like, it's really, I'm not going to go into it because we don't have time today, but it's so bad, Neal, that like guys that are, I'm talking about journeyman, Neal. I'm talking about like the journeyman of journeymen are like the top 2 or 3 golfers in a tournament. It's not even competitive anymore. I feel like I'm watching.
No, I mean, look, LIV, Live, whatever, they've won.
It's over.
Because money talks. They've won. It's why full circle on the SEC Big Ten thingy. Everybody else better be cool because they have the money. Doesn't mean they'll have it forever. It doesn't mean it won't be different in 20 years. But they got it right now. And you better be careful when you play in hardball. Because it's real easy when you over push your deal, right? I mean, if I go to a prospective employer, he's like, man, we really want you to come work for us. We think you're awesome. Give us a price. And I go, all right, $2 million. He said, well, we don't want it that bad, right? They're like, oh, how about $1 million? I go, no, I want $2 million. At some point, they go, it's just not going to work. We're out. Now, we might meet somewhere else, right? But that's where this is right now. Liv has the money.
They have all the talent.
They have the desire. And they want to keep doing this. And there might come a place down the road where they go, this is stupid. This is a bad business expense. It doesn't work for us. But they have screw you money. And right now they're spending it. And so at some point, if you're Rory McIlroy or someone, I think I've always had the deal where you go, oh, we'd never do that until you sit in the room and you'd say to your wife or your significant other or your parents, whatever. So this is the amount of money that's been put on the table.
Oh, and by the way, I don't have to work as much.
And if I say no to this, it might not be there a year from now.
Hideki Matsuyama's going.
It becomes an easy decision.
Yeah, it's all going to change over. And then the interesting part for me was, that the PGA Tour just got this $3 billion investment, so they're not going to go anywhere. Is at what point the TV the TV contracts flip over because all the talent's playing on. They're not going to let Neal. I'm telling you, okay, they're not going to allow all of this talent, elite golf talent. That's a fun product to watch because it's not about the 18 holes and the 54 hole. I mean, the 18 shot. It's not. It's who's playing. Okay.
Of course.
They're not going to allow that shit to be on the CW for 2 hours in the afternoon and shove some dudes that you've never heard of down your throat on CBS and prime.
Well, no, once CBS begins to see their numbers fall off, they're going to say, hey, what's it going to take?
Well, I can tell you this. I'm an avid golf fan. I watch golf probably more than 99.9% of the people on this planet, and I did not watch one hole this past week, and I will not watch one hole this week. So if it's me, it's probably everybody else too. All right, last thing. You got some life advice on email?
I do.
Okay, real quick. Criteria Club for tonight. Official announcement of Criteria Club for tonight. Okay. By the way, Criteria Club this week, let me tell you how you boys doing. This week is 13-2 as far as the games. 15 total games have been the Criteria, 13-2, 87% or something like that. I have in 2 days in a row, we had a perfect Monday, so everybody won. 2 days in a row, I have picked the one team that lost in my parlay. So don't go with this tonight if you want to win. I'm going the official Criteria Club parlay for Monday is Drexel, Washington State, Long Beach State, and I went outside the criteria. I'm breaking rule number 2 of Criteria Club, which is never go outside the criteria. I'm taking Rutgers at home versus Michigan. They have not won a road conference game since like December the 10th, and they're losing by like 20-something points. They're like 2-15 in the last 17 games or something.
Have they played in Ann Arbor previously in the season?
No, they have not.
Okay.
They have not. So I did all that research and stuff.
Okay.
But that's what I'm going with. They're at like 66% or something like that to win. So that's the official Criteria Club pick for the day.
All right, we will finish with life advice. Again, life advice presented by Cole Walters, State Farm Insurance. You can get in touch with them, 706-525-7850 or ColeWaltersInsurance.com. Says, I have a life advice question based around guy code. Back in my college days, my brother and best friend roomed with me. They were in bad spots and looking for jobs and also trying to get back in school. I worked as a manager at Checkers while in school. Didn't have a car, so I would rent a university bike and take it to work. Only about a 1.5 mile ride from my apartment and campus. I paid all the bills, and they were going to throw it back to me once they got jobs or their school check, whichever happened first. I would bring back burgers or chicken sandwiches about every other day for the guys. One day, I bought a pint of ice cream and a Fooze drink, F-U-Z-E.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. From the gas station on my way home. My friend asked if he could have some of my ice cream, and I said, nah, man, I just want to have a little something to myself today. I jumped in the shower, and during the whole shower, I'm thinking about that ice cream.
I know it.
I get out and go to the kitchen. I pulled my ice cream out and saw that someone had dipped out at least 4 spoonfuls of ice cream. I said, what the, bro?
Fuck.
And my brother immediately said, it wasn't me, fam. I know how you love ice cream and you said you wanted it to yourself. My friend was falling asleep in the back room. I grabbed my drink, poured it on his face. He got pissed and we threw a couple bows, but my brother broke it up before either could land a good punch. Who was wrong? What's the guy code for this? We patched it up about 4 hours later, but still, this is easy.
Yeah, this is easy. Go ahead. I don't have to answer.
You told him, don't touch my ice cream. I'm keeping that to myself. You stated your intention. Your brother respected that. Your friend did not. He deserved worse than what he got. He deserved what he deserved was his ass kicked. There was no reason for him to. What are you going to do? You're going to go dip?
Kick a dude's ass over some ice cream?
You're going to go dip in someone's ice cream? If you tell me, no, seriously, if you come in my house and you've got a thing of ice cream, I don't ever eat ice cream, but if you told me.
Safe.
Yeah, you're safe. I'd be like,
I had a Kind bar.
Yeah, you walk in with the Kind bar. I like Kind bars. You walk in
I said it.
and you say, hey, this is my Kind bar. I want this to myself. Dude, I'm not touching your Kind bar. No chance. No chance. Not a chance in the world. Your Kind bar would be safe sitting on that table for months.
See, this happens to me a lot. I think people take advantage of my generosity. You know what's funny is the people every week. Let me tell you what's funny. The people who don't know me, Neal, think I'm a massive asshole. And so people will go out of their way to avoid me that don't know me.
Mm-hmm.
However, the people that are closest to me know that I'm not an asshole and they take advantage of me and things like this. So very often I may have, hey, here's a great example. I may have, and you know who you are, and you may be listening. In the old refrigerator in the old office, I may, on our show, we have our show, I may bring a rainstorm and have it in the refrigerator so I can leave the office and come to the show. And, I get ready at 1:30 to come over to your house, and I go to the refrigerator, and guess what? It's gone.
See, I can't relate to this. This is me. No joke.
You know who you are.
No joke. If I open a refrigerator in my own house, if I open a refrigerator and something's there and I didn't put it there, I don't touch it.
So
it's not mine.
You're a nice guy.
It's like
I don't do that either.
I don't ever open anybody else's.
It's a sign of respect.
I don't open anybody's mail. I don't do anything.
So the excuse that I get is, oh, well, Bob sent you, 1,000 cases of them. You can just go home and get another one. I can. You're right. I can, but that's not the point.
That's not the point.
That's not the point.
I brought that one.
I brought that one to make it cold.
And that was my one.
And that was my one. That was the flavor that I wanted to go with today.
But if you want, it wouldn't matter if you wanted to leave it there until next September. That's
right.
your can of whatever.
And then, I have this thing with at the house with my boys. If I have something that, they like, and it's often with Brock and Knox, I will call you out because you are my children. And let's say,
damn, Brock.
And Jackson's is Oreos. That's his weakness. So let's say, it's okay for me to have stuff too around the house.
Again, it's why I hang out with Legend as much as I do. I mean, he doesn't take my stuff.
I like my Reese cups, Neal. Okay, look, I don't ask for a lot, but I like my Reese cups.
Okay.
And I'm a little different. I like Reese cups any way you can have them. But I actually like Reese cups. The best way is I put them in the freezer.
Mm-hmm. Of course.
Okay. I'll put my Reese cup. This happened 2 weeks ago. I bought a king size Reese cup. I was having one of my days. I've been crushing food. So I was going to have my pizza, my beer. I was going to watch MMA, and I was going to finish my pizza, and I was going to finish it off with a nice frozen king size Reese cup. Put it in the freezer.
So you had a plan.
Had a plan.
Mm-hmm.
Put it in the freezer. Went and got some beer. Went upstairs. Ate my pizza. Watching MMA. We had a break in the fights. I go downstairs to grab my frozen Reese cups, Neal.
Yep. They were gone.
Not only were they gone, Neal, they left the wrapper.
Oh, that's cold.
I mean, that's just a sign of disrespect.
Total. That's exactly what it is.
So here is what I do that I also, then Aaron gets mad at me because I don't fight my kids, obviously. And so I was wanting everybody to feel my pain.
Mm-hmm.
So at 10:45 on a Saturday night, when everybody was asleep,
mm-hmm.
but me,
yeah,
I started yelling and cussing so everybody would wake up,
okay,
and feel my pain. That's how I got my revenge. So I couldn't do that. But in this person's case, yes, they don't need that. They were in the wrong. They shouldn't do your ice cream. Ice cream's probably a little bit. I don't think that deserves physical blows. There are some things that would deserve break and bro code, but that's not one.
Okay, yeah, but
you don't kick somebody's ass over eating your ice cream.
You've got a pint of ice cream, and someone takes a spoon.
Would you be mad enough to fight somebody though?
I'd be pissed off.
Okay, if I ate your kind bar, would you try to fight me over it, or would you say
no?
Hey,
I would.
You would just cuss me and tell me to go get you another one.
I'd be like, what the hell's wrong with you?
Exactly. That deserves that. You wouldn't try to fight me over it.
No, probably not. But ice cream. Hear me out.
And you say, better bring me the fucking kind bar next time too, dickhead.
Hear me out. That means you got to dip into the ice cream, take a bite. You're going back into the ice cream.
Double dipping. You know they're double dipping.
I mean, at that point,
theirs.
What you're really saying is, I'm taking your ice cream. I'm going to take 3 or 4 bites of it. You're going to be disgusted, and now you're just going to give it to me.
This is not life advice, but hey, look, he may be taking your ice cream first and your girl second. You don't know.
Where does it stop?
Where does it stop?
Where does it stop?
Draw the line in the sand.
And so at some point, you're like, look, if you want ice cream that bad, in this case, get your ass, go get a job and buy your own ice cream.
That's a good point.
I mean,
good point, Neal. Valid points.
Look, you've heard of the slippery slope?
It's very slippery.
What happens next after the ice cream? You went out, let's say you decided on Friday, hey, you know what? All right, here's one. Hey, you know what? I'm having a steak.
Well, he's outing himself in the chat. Who sent the life advice?
Yeah, I'm having a steak tonight, right? And so you go and you go to LB's Meat Market, and you buy a bone-in New York strip, and you've got it in the you've got it in the fridge.
Yeah,
you're gonna grill it that night. Hour and a half later, you come back, it's gone. They put it in the skillet. They did something and they ate it. How pissed off would you be? You'd be pretty pissed off. So you'd be like, it started with ice cream, and now you're this. And sure enough, yeah, he's gonna try to take your girl. And so you have to. You've got to at some point put a line in the sand and go, this is it.
He said in the chat that it got pissed off because he poured a drink on him. I got you. I don't think pouring a drink on him was probably too far. I probably done some stuff like that.
They ended up going to blows.
All right. If you're here, you're here. And I can, since a lot of people are not here anymore because they probably are thinking we're delusional. Can I tell a story of how I got revenge? And I've never told it before, ever.
Well, if I told you right now, you'd still do it.
Yeah, I'd still do it. My wife is the only one that knows. So when I was in college.
She's the one who's the sister of the agent?
Allegedly.
Okay.
Allegedly. All right. So when I was in college, my first, we had spring practice, and you're on freaking scout team your whole first year and all that stuff. So you're finally getting your shot in spring practice. I'm in Auburn, and I'm all juiced up, getting ready to go spring practice. And day one of spring practice, we've done all the stuff and all to get there. I come to my locker and I have a typed up letter in my locker, okay, that has letterhead and the whole deal.
Okay.
I mean, it's legitly done. And it says, Tyler Rugg, and it was very officially done according to rule, NCAA rule, bylaw, whatever, 14 - whatever. Based on, I had some stuff going on. They said, based on this, you are ineligible to participate with the Auburn football team. Thank you for your participation. I'm arriving to the facility to practice. Day one of spring practice. And so, dude, I am crushed.
Sure.
I mean, I have worked my ass off. I am crushed. Dude, I go home, no cell phones, no social media, all that stuff. I go back to my apartment. I call my mom. I call my dad. And I'm fucking crushed. I'm like, fuck this. I didn't say fuck, but I was like, the hell with this. I'm leaving, doing all this stuff. And I mean, I was losing my mind. And I was like, dude, you talking about depressed? I was depressed.
Oh, yeah.
So that, practice, it was early afternoon. So about 6:45, I get a phone call. And for my position coach, it was Larry Edmondson. He calls and says, "Did you quit?" And I said, "Sir?" He goes, "Did you quit?" I said, "No, sir, I didn't quit. Y'all kicked me off the team." He's like, "What?" He says, "Come up here." So I took the letter. I went up there and I went in his office and I sat down and showed it to him. And then he calls the operations guy. The operations guy at that time was Bob LaCivita. So he calls Bob in there and he goes, because Bob was from Bob's desk, because Bob handled that stuff. And it had Bob's name signed and the whole deal.
Uh-huh.
And Bob reads it and he looks up at me and goes, "Hey, Tyler." "Yes, sir." He goes, "What's today?" I said, "It's Monday." He goes, "What's today?" He says, "April 1st." He goes, "I didn't write that letter." Somebody got you. Okay. So I am.
Did you get punished for missing practice?
No, I did not.
Okay.
But this is where your boy is devious.
Yeah.
Okay. So I come home.
Were they laughing?
All right. So, well, first of all, I haven't seen anybody. I come home.
No, the coaches, were they laughing?
Yeah, they were laughing.
Yeah,
I didn't think it was very funny, but they were laughing. All right. I mean, I cleaned my shit out. Like I was doing one of the Ricky Vaughns from Major League. I was not happy. And so I come home and it ended up being there was another player. His name was, and he does not know this, so this will probably get to him because one of our buddies will probably clip it to him. So I'm going to admit to something, some 26 years later.
Okay.
This goes out to KG Asada, the Japanese assassin. He was a walk-on linebacker that was in our friend group.
All
right. So he's the one who did it. He was he was an engineer in I think it was in chemical engineering, very smart, but he was like super academia, right? And he's the one who did it. I found out he's the one who did it. Well, KG, unlike your boy here, KG had a tough time getting dates.
From Coral Springs, Florida.
Yeah, from Coral Springs, Florida. That's
5'9", 207-pound linebacker.
He would knock your ass out, though. So this goes out to KG. So KG had a tough time making a date. So I had just started dating my wife, and I got her to call KG and say, hey, he was talking about this hot chick that was in one of his classes.
Uh-huh.
And I got her to call him and pretend that she was her.
Good. That's good.
And do you remember Buffalo's, the wing place that was right off of
Yes,
Toomer's Corner?
I do.
All right. So it was like, hey, meet me let's have a date. Let's go on a lunch date. And so he sets it up. And dude, we come home from workouts and KG is getting dressed to the nines, man. He is like, he's putting on, back then, you old guys will know this. We had bodysuits, you'd wear these tight freaking muscle shirts, and because he was built up and he was slicking his hair back. I mean, he took 2 hours to get ready and he was fired up because this dude hadn't had a date since he'd been to Auburn. And he goes, and we went ahead in Buffalo's and said, hey, when this guy shows up, put him in this window right there. And so he sat in that window for 3 hours.
Oh no.
Waiting on her to show up. And obviously she never showed up.
Obviously.
Well, that wasn't good enough for your boy. So I decided, I was like, okay, I said, that was funny. I said, but dude, you made me miss something. I was pissed off. So KG, I apologize because that one just hurt your feelings. We had finals about a month later, or whatever it was. And he had a final in his like chemistry 500 class or whatever that he needed to pass to, that he had to pass. And the final was at 8 a.m. on a Saturday morning. He lived at College Park. So I apologize to everybody at College Park. I went Friday night at about 2, or Saturday morning about 2 in the morning, and I pulled the power from the house. And so he did not have an alarm clock. We didn't have cell phones back then, so you had to have an alarm clock. I pulled all the power to his apartment, so he slept through his final, and he failed his final because
that's cold.
Because I pulled a deal.
Wow.
So sorry, KG. It's 26 years later. Hope you forgive me.
I was Googling his name. This is tragic. He was pursuing a career in chemical engineering, and they said that he was one
credit shy.
He was 1 credit shy.
He's done well for himself.
He's a Hooters waitress. I mean, this is crazy.
Yeah. I think he lives in Chicago at one time.
All right. Everybody have a great weekend. We'll be back with you next week with another edition of another week, I should say, of McCready and Siskey, powered by Rain Total Body Fuel. Don't forget to check them out at on Instagram, I should say, at Rain Body Fuel to learn more. For Tyler Siskey, I'm Neal McCready. Until next time, have a great weekend. Take care.